was just scrolling through TikTok the other day and I came across a bridal makeup tutorial. And one thing about me is I love a good bridal makeup tutorial. I think that style of makeup is beautiful. And I also did used to be a bridal makeup artist for a few years. I would travel all over DC. So bridal beauty is quite literally my area of expertise. And fun fact, I'm not getting married this year, but I am having a wedding reception 5 years after my marriage. It's a long story. I'm having a wedding reception in Spain this year, so I actually need to start thinking about what makeup I want to use. And so I've been planning on doing a few bridal tutorials in preparation for that for myself. And I came across this tutorial on TikTok and I was getting a little freaked out because with every product that she was picking up, it was like a product I was obsessed with and that I probably would have used for my bridal beauty anyways. And she looked absolutely stunning. Great taste in products, if I do say so myself. And I just thought the tips that she gave were really thoughtful, really great. So for my first bridal soiree into the look I'm gonna create, I thought I would follow along with this tutorial and see how all of the products she chose melt together and see what I can come up with. So her name on TikTok, of course, I'm going to link down below for you guys for the video, but it's Jujubee. Her name is Julia. She's from Boston, Massachusetts. I mean, this video has 4.3 million views. And I mean, look at her. I want to look like that. So I'm going to follow along with her tutorial. Like I said, I was floored with the products that she was using because it was like a favorite of mine after a favorite of mine after a favorite of mine. And I was like, okay, I gotta try it. I love how she looks. Obviously, I have a different facial structure than her, so we're gonna see how it pulls on me. But this might be some good inspo for what products I want to pack when I'm in Spain. So let's get started. She starts off with a fantastic tip that I always say. Use light skincare, no SPF. Just on this day, it'll be okay. So she actually starts off with a hydrating kind of serum. I'm gonna use the Rhode Glazing Milk, which is one of the options that she gave. So I'm just gonna lightly press this into the skin and let this be our hydration for the day. It's nice and light, it will soak in pretty quickly, so it makes it good before an event like a wedding. So just give that a minute or so to soak in. And then she recommends a grippy primer. Now for me, I'm actually not the biggest fan of grippy primers, but I do agree with what she says. I mean, you definitely want your makeup to last really long, and you just apply it right to the parts of your face that tend to get a little sweaty and oily, which is the T-zone area. So I'm gonna use the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer for this. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on the forehead right here in the center, right in the center of the T-zone area. Now I do have dry skin, so I don't worry too much about makeup lasting unless it's like really hot. But I know my event personally is going to be indoors, thank goodness, with AC. And take a fan and let that dry a little bit. Okay, for foundations, I love this combo that she did. I haven't tried these two mixed together, but I've tried them both individually. They're fantastic, so I'm excited to see how this wears today. So we're mixing the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation with the Dior Backstage Foundation. So this is waterproof, so it's gonna help with wear, and then this is just plain gorgeous on the skin. Just gonna mix on the back of my hand. Now this shade match is gonna be a little on the dark side for me right now. That's okay, because I should be more tan after the end of summer. It's not a wedding, but I'm gonna call it a wedding when our wedding is. And so you wanna start off by applying the product in the area that you need more coverage first. She goes directly in with a brush. That's not normally how I prefer to do it, but I'll follow along. I know that this is gonna be a stunning, sickening, beautiful wear because I love both of these foundations. They're both just absolutely incredible. So, and then I love that she does this. She takes a damp beauty blender. We're kind of pressing the product into the skin, and then also it's going to pick up any excess product that you don't need. But I love this tip. This is really important for making the skin look very skin-like for an event like this. And then she goes in with a cool tone bronzer. She uses the ABH contour stick, which is one of the few products that I don't have. So I'm gonna use Amber Suede from Fenty Beauty. And this is mostly just a contour, so you want something cooler tone. And you're just gonna put it right here to make the cheekbones pop, down the center of the nose. I like to do this right here underneath the chin and then up underneath the jawline. You need to be careful with this because you don't want to have like a beard when you turn. She actually used one of my favorite brushes to blend all of this, the F4 from Makeup by Mario. And I'm just gonna blend everything out, and then when it comes to the cheekbones, slightly push the product up. So reminder, this is for contour, not for bronzing. So you want to keep the placement a little bit more precise here. Don't worry, we will get into the bronzer. And then blend the contour around the jawline, slightly down. Now obviously for wedding day, apply the makeup on the chest and the shoulders and all of that. I'm not getting married today. I don't want to get this dirty with makeup quite yet, so I'm gonna avoid my neck and chest for the most part today and not bring the makeup too down. But don't be afraid on the day of an event. You know what? I always forget to blend right here. I don't know why, but this is really great for giving a pouty lip kind of look. Now we're gonna take a warmer color bronzer, something that's nice and emollient. I'm using the Rephr Beauty bronzer stick, which is what she uses as well. So she starts off by putting her brush on the product and then using her hand to kind of warm it up and then get all the excess product off. And then you're gonna apply this less precise, so putting it over the cheekbone like so, along the forehead, making sure you're blending into the hairline, especially if you are doing an updo. Then with excess, put a little bit on the nose and below the chin. Is that what she did, below the chin? I've never heard that before. Anyways, nice, we're bronzed. And then in the summer, I will probably go with something a little deeper. I'm just using Power Boost right now. And then she uses my all-time favorite concealer, the Sealed the Deal. I was like, I like this girl, follow. Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. And what she did was she put it on the back of her hand. Her shade's a little bit more brightening than mine is, but we're gonna make it work. And she coated the bristles, and then with the excess product, went into a new spot. And then she focused the color right here, actually, which I thought was interesting, and then worked her way up and out with the concealer, which what I'm noticing from this method is it really keeps the product nice and thin, which is what you're going to want to do because we are applying a second concealer on top, but I like this tip. Look how soft and airbrushed it looks because I didn't apply too much product. I'm also gonna bring some down the side of the nose. Beautiful. Okay, let's do the other eye. And this concealer is also unreal. It does so much of the work for us because of how beautiful it is. So again, I started off kind of right here and then I work up and out. And again, and then with whatever is excess, even out the eyelid, like so. This is gonna work as an eyeshadow base. Now, especially if you have oily eyelids, I would recommend to go in with an actual eyeshadow base, but I'm trusting the process here. Okay, and now she's taking the House Labs concealer. I was mistaken. We're not putting another concealer on the under eye. I might do a little bit, but what she did, she says to get something a little closer to your skin tone, and then do that same method of on the back of the hand and then kind of push it into the bristles. And she took the concealer and she used it to clean up under this area and bring some brightness. Now this is a really good technique to correct any over blending that happened from the contour. And since this is going on the direct area of the face, that's why she said make it a little closer to your natural skin tone. I'm actually going to go ahead and use this opportunity to correct any blemishes, any redness around the nose, she says. And then with the excess on my brush, I do want a little bit of this color right here in the inner corner just to match up, make everything look more cohesive. And then I love that she's using some of the same brushes from previous steps. The brush that you use to blend in your bronzer, you're now gonna go in once over again to melt the concealer and the bronzer together in case there were any harsh lines. And I love this tip. I think it's very, very important. When I was a bridal makeup artist, or not even when, I still do this to this day, always have my foundation brush near to help melt everything together. The skin is looking really soft and beautiful and quite airbrushed right now, I have to say. And then to tie everything together, I'm going back in with my cream bronzer and I'm going to recontour the nose and then also bring that in through the crease. For this step, I'm using a Patrick Ta nose contour brush and then I'm flipping it and I'm blending it, softening everything. Next, she uses the Hourglass Unreal Liquid Blush. Now, she does a custom color combo, which is a lot more pink, which I think is more appropriate for wedding, but I just want to try this formula. I only have the shade Future, so that's what I'm gonna use today. But I think if I were to use this on my wedding day, I would look into a more pink color, but hopefully you can overlook that. So get that on the brush, and then again on a clean part of your hand, get the excess off, especially with blush, and then I'm just gonna apply that to the apple of my cheek. You know what? This blush looked kind of scary at first, but with her method of application, look how pretty and natural that looks. And plus, you know, we gotta give our props to the Hourglass formula on this. I really love this method of application. This is beautiful, and she kind of carries the blush quite far back. I think if this were a little bit more of a brighter pink, it would give that spring bridal beauty look, but this is pretty if you have a warmer undertone. I do like this color still, and it gets the job done. I'm not too worried about it being not pink enough. And then she goes back in with the damp beauty blender and then uses that to, as she says, marinate everything together. And then she uses the Kosas Cloud Set powder in the candy shade, the pink shade, which is not my favorite setting powder. I probably would use a different one, but I'm gonna trust the process, Julia, because you know what you're talking about. So we're gonna take the powder puff, get a lot of product on there, clean part of the arm, patting it down, and we're going set the under eye area, then with excess, set our eyelid. Still a pretty powder, don't get me wrong. Same thing here. If your blush is fading at this point, don't worry. I'm gonna go in with some powder over top momentarily here. And then she uses another classic airbrush flawless setting powder from Charlotte Tilbury, and I love this for finishing makeup, not really setting, but it is really great for areas other than the under eyes. So she sets the center of the forehead, underneath right here, and then sides the nose. So this is just kind of the T-zone area and the leftover areas that didn't have any powder. And this is beautiful for this purpose. Again, I wouldn't go anywhere near the under eyes with this, but it does lock in that makeup while adding in a little extra coverage. And now she uses MAC Give Me Sun. Now this is very, very warm. I was excited, I forgot that I had this. And you're just going to use this to lightly set wherever you applied the Rare Beauty bronzer. So this will bring some of that pigment back while also setting your bronzer in place. Make sure you're using a light hand, especially for this part. The tutorial, when it comes to setting with powders, you want to use a super light hand. That's pretty. That actually did add a great amount of warmth, but not too much. I'm gonna pinkify my face now. She uses the shade Hibiscus Haze, which I do not have from House Lab. I do have the very obnoxious Dragon Fruit Days, so I'm gonna use a really light hand and a really soft brush like this one from Rephr Beauty. And just like the bronzer, we are gonna put it right over top of where we place that blush. And this will bring pink into the look anyways. Like I said, she used Hibiscus Haze, but we're working with the shades that I got. Beautiful. This will bring the color back to the face. She dusts whatever is left across the nose, which I don't really have anything, but that's fine. Oh, I love that she does this. She takes Rose Quartz from House Labs, which is technically a highlighter, but I don't care. It is beautiful, and really loading up the brush, tapping off the excess, and then going to give a glow to the cheek. This is gorgeous. This is a highlight, but I literally have it in my blush drawer for this purpose, and applying it with this brush from Rephr really adds a subtle, pretty glow. I cannot stop. Let me put it down. Finally, brows. I've been eager to do something about these. We're using the ABH Brow Wiz, which is also what she uses. So she says to brush up. Ordinarily, for my own routine, I do brows first, but I wanted to follow this step by step. And I'm just gonna start off by defining the underbrow. I forgot how light of a hand you can use for this. And then start filling in any sparse areas that you might need. Now, this is all personal to what your brows need. Mine need a little love by the arch. Remember that brows are one of, this is my makeup artist side coming out. Remember that brows are one of the quickest trends to change when it comes to beauty. So I tend to, when it comes to bride, follow their natural brow line. No matter how much they might want an arch or whatever, I always encourage to go for whatever naturally they're working with. And then she uses ABH Clear Brow Gel. I only have Benefit, but ABH Brow Gel is a little on the softer side. It's very nice, again, for following a natural brow. And this Benefit will also be good, so long as I'm not putting too much pressure. Like, the way I normally do my brows is kind of trendy. Something softer like this is good for wedding day. Stunning! Okay. Let me pull what I need for the eyes. For eyeshadow, this is a really great palette for this event. Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3 palette. And I love how she starts off with this matte white brush. I'm using Singe Beauty E11 and starts this off as just a little highlight to the inner corner of the eye, because a lot of times darkness can really collect here. And then for a neutral base, she's taking this shade right above and just patting that all over the eyelid. She uses more of a softer blending brush, but work with what you got. This is just what I reached for. And then for the outer corner color, she says use this one if you're more warm, and then use this one if you're more cool. Since I went in with a warmer blush, I'm going to use that top shade and swing this back and forth in the outer corner. Forgot how soft these eyeshadows were. They're very powdery. Not in a bad way, but they're just very soft. And then really focus on, she says, creating an arrow kind of going out towards the temple. This will make the eyes look bigger. And then with whatever's left on the brush, bring this into the crease and into the nose contour, which is not something I do very often. It really does kind of connect everything, doesn't it? Then she goes in with the shade next to it. Again, you can use this one for more cool looks. And you're keeping this one a little bit more tight to the outer corner and away from the crease. So keep it lower. We're slowly building dimension here to the eye. And typically with all bridal looks, a shape like this is gonna be the most flattering to most eye shapes, where you collect the depth. And then we're taking the first crease shade that we used and sweeping this along the lower lash line, and then into the deeper one, going right over that. Oh my gosh, normally I tend to add a little bit more depth. This is going to be a very bright-eyed, very pretty springy kind of look. Okay, next she takes a kind of glittery shade. She uses Talk to My Team. I'm just going to use We Need Better Lighting from Patrick Ta. Now, this probably I would skip, because she just says to really get it on the brush and then tap it off nice and good. And this is personal preference to the wearer, of course, but for bridal, I do try to stay away from loose glitters like this, because if it falls on the face, the flash photography can catch the glitter. And not that it's not an easy fix or anything, but sometimes glitters can be a little unpredictable. So I would probably secure this with at least a setting spray if you really are set on having glitters. But generally speaking, I recommend metallics or satin shades for bridal. But if you love a little bit of glitter, I don't blame you. Make sure you are tapping and not swiping to minimize any fallout that you could get. Tap it off really, really good. I'm popping this all over. Okay, if you have any fallout, wipe that away, because we do not want flash photography to catch that. Then she takes a brown eyeliner pencil. I'm using Laura Mercier Cocoa or Cacao. She uses Wonder Skin, which actually is one of my all-time favorite pencil eyeliners. So I was shocked when she pulled that out, because nobody uses that, but I love it. And then she smudges it out. I don't normally do such a little eyeliner, so I've been excited to see how it looks with it just on the outer part of my eye, like so. And then she takes a waterproof black eyeliner to tight line to keep the lash line nice and full looking. Try not to blink when you do this so that it can dry before it transfers. I'm using the Lancome Lace Stylo Waterproof. I love this one. She uses Urban Decay 24/7, which is also really good. And then curl the lashes. I love following a tutorial. It's kind of fun to not have to think about it. It's like working out with a trainer, you know? It's just nice to not have to think about it. And then she uses a nude gel eyeliner. I'm gonna use the dual eye pencil from Muse Beauty in Bisque. Go nude, not white. Match it to your skin tone though. This creates a more eye awakened effect. I think I'm actually gonna smudge this out a little bit so it's less dark. It will fade though. And then she uses the Makeup by Mario Master Mascara, and her lashes are like much nicer than mine, so the effect is gonna be less effective on me, but we're gonna do it. So I'm gonna focus on building this up and letting it dry, and I'm gonna do this off camera because it's gonna take a lot of time waiting for things to dry. But I'm gonna apply a couple of the Ardell Soft Touch Trios just to the outer part of the eye where we mainly focus that gel eyeliner, and then you'll see the ba-va-voom difference. My eye shape sometimes struggles with the trios, especially in the outer corners, so just pay no mind. Okay, for highlight, she uses one of my all-time favorites, the Dior Universal Highlight Palette, and I'm just gonna mix the top two shades, and then we get right into the high point of the cheek, then over under the brow bone. I don't normally sweep it over the brow bone. This is pretty. I'm sure that's well blended because I accidentally applied way too much. Her eyelashes are so much nicer than mine. Okay, and then same thing for our little inner corner glow. I really love that stark white in the inner corner. I think it brightened up the whole face. Oh, she also puts it like down the center of the nose. And then right here, I'm just gonna do a little bit. And then a couple sprays of the iconic London Prep Set and Glow to give a pretty glow to the face. This is quite effective. Okay, I did twice as much as she, but I really wanted it. And then for lip liner, she uses MAC Whirl, and of course I'll have all of this linked down below. And overlining in the center and slightly on the Cupid's bow. And remember, overlining is actually just a trend. So if you're going for more classic bridal, don't overline too much. Do you hear me? As I continue to overline. Anyways, Flawless Wedding Day lipstick, mostly kept in the center. Pretty, with Sweet Mouth Fenty Beauty gloss. Ugh. Yeah, I love this gloss. And then finally, to lock everything in place, to finish up the tutorial, One Size On Till Dawn. She also uses like a bronzy, glowy thing all over the chest. Not doing that today, but... Why is this still going? Oh my god. I'm suffocating now. Oh my god. Did you see that? Okay. Anyways, now I'm crying. Give me a minute. Oh, this eyelash, what is going on? I gotta pull that off. I'm a strip lash girl. I'm pleased with everything except lashes on my left eye, but that was a personal problem. Anyways, here is the look from that bridal makeup tutorial that was stunning, done by Julia. My skin looks filtered. It really looks fabulous. This is definitely a more subtle take to the eye than I normally go, and it's quite pretty. I like it a lot. I love this lip combo too. I'm so happy she made me pull out Sweet Mouth because what a gorgeous gloss that is. But anyways, let me know if you guys enjoyed this bridal tutorial. Would you like me to create more? I definitely plan on doing at least one more with a look that I'm kind of gonna go for my wedding this summer, but this was a step in the right direction for sure. I definitely picked up some tips and products that I plan on bringing out again. So I will have the link down to Julia's tutorial down below if you want to check it out from the source. And then of course all of the products that I used will be linked down below. And all of the shades. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.
It's delicious.